A very good morning to dear friends and family in Christ. It's a beautiful day. It's nice to bring today's devotion to you all through this channel. So, for today's devotion, I have picked up this topic, Sleepless in Persia. So, we are going to talk about the Persian king. The passage taken is from the book of Esther, chapter 6. Three key characters in this passage are Haman, the king, and the Mordecai. So we have the king here. The king, this king was a great king. He ruled around 127 provinces from India to Kush, which is somewhere near Egypt. So it was almost he's a great leader, a ruler. So he is sleepless that night. What happens the previous day is that before Haman went to sleep, what he did was he is planning something against Mordecai. He is making a poll so that he can hang Mordecai, so that he can get rid of this annoying Mordecai. But God's plan was different. Okay, so through the night, what happens to the king is that he's sleepless, and then he prefers to read the book of Chronicles. Okay, so usually kings, when they are having sleeplessness, if you see King Saul, he prefers to listen to music, but this king wants to read the book, the report of what happened in his empire, what happened, what were all the rulings that were done, the policies. He wants to go and to go through the book of Chronicles too. It's just like a book of records. It feels dry, though. You feel that okay, maybe it's a boring book, that's why he wants to read it. But it seems this chronicle book is usually written in poetic form, so it is soothing and interesting. So maybe the king preferred to read this book because he was not feeling sleepy that night. So God planned it so different for Mordecai that when Haman was planning something so bad for him, but God's plan was different, and then that night God gave sleeplessness to this king and made the king read this particular passage, which was actually, it seems it was buried under 5 years of events. Randomly he goes exactly to that passage on that night, and then he reads that passage and he remembers that Mordecai was not given any reward for what he did for the king previously. So maybe, let's see, these 5 years, there must be some instance when Mordecai would have thought, maybe the king forgot what I did for him. I didn't get anything out of it. Maybe he would have felt discouraged during this 5 years period. But God's plan was so different that he, in his time, at the right place, he made the king remember this so that Mordecai could be honored the next day. That too, with Haman's hand himself, he himself did the honor to Mordecai. So from this passage, as I was reading, I could relate to my own testimony, which I would like to share today with you all. Actually, in 2014, I was given a job offer in the university which I am working now. The salary was low, and although I signed the offer letter, but I could not. They could not process it further due to some difficulties. I felt so discouraged. For 2 years, I didn't get the job, and then I was at home. I felt quite very discouraged. Okay. And 2016, what happened was the same job came back to me again. The offer letter was given, but the pay was much better than before. And by the time I had my son in hand, it felt like in God's big picture, all the puzzle pieces fit together beautifully. So when I looked back 2 years back, I felt that God, in his own time, he has given me this. So like this, we all would have gone through certain instances in our life where we would have been discouraged. Remember that God changes everything. He's so mighty that he changes the climate, the universe, even the political policies and the situations in your favor. So in his right time, in the right place, he will give sleepless night to somebody He might talk to great people in favor of you. Stay blessed.